Do you struggle with feeling inferior in your family as an aspiring CEO, as a side business hustler, or as a stay-at-home mom? Are you and your partner, your spouse, trying to build a business, and because maybe he's the money guy, he's seemingly the brains behind the operation, he is the one that is running everything, it leaves you feeling as though you really bring nothing to the table, you really hold no value other than being there and just saying, well, my name's on the paper too, right? Do you seek validation in your role as a co-CEO of the empire that you are trying to build? This episode is for you if you are ready to release these limiting beliefs that are holding you back from becoming the visionary you were meant to be. Because honestly, truly, wholeheartedly, I have to tell you that the empire doesn't stand a chance without you in it. Today, I am going to give you back your identity and any validation you really don't need, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, so that you can start confidently running your business, even if you don't see it as a full business just yet, running your dreams with the respect that you and it deserves. Let's go ahead and jump right in.
Oh, good, you're here. I'm so happy you've decided to get serious about taking your dream business to the next level using funding. No more business loans, no more using your emergency funds, no more confusion on where to start, where to get support, and what to do if and when you get stuck. My name is Sloan. Welcome to the Nothing for Granted podcast. I'm a funding expert, a beauty academy owner, and a homeschooling mom of 4. This is the place to be, to learn tips to get your dream business funded. You're going to learn tactful research and grant writing tips so you can use them while applying to grants. Because I too am a busy visionary CEO / mama / a million other hats, I'm sharing with you my top kingdom entrepreneurship tips. You're going to get answers to questions like, how do I infuse God into my business? How do you juggle all of the things without resenting your work? And how do you market yourself as a freelancer or solopreneur so that you can increase your impact? When you're building something that's never been built before, you need someone that's going to be that tough love friend. You need someone that's going to hold you accountable to the vision that is uniquely yours. Everything, hear me on this, everything that you have experienced has led you up to this very moment. And because of that amazing grace, we're not taking anything for granted. Let's jump right into the show.
Visionary, if you're not already subscribed to the Beast newsletter, what are you doing? This is the place to be. Not only do you get a weekly word, which is transforming the lives of subscribers in more than just your business life, your spiritual life, your life as a mother, and all of the hats that you juggle. But also, I am gifting you every single week grants for your business that you need to be running after. Subscribe to the newsletter down below in the link in the show notes. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. We're having incredible conversations there as well. So any questions that you have regarding anything on the newsletter, is the newsletter right for me? Should I be on here? Hey, I read something that really resonated with me and I want to continue that conversation. I am totally accessible, so don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's what I'm here for. I want to support you in your journey as you grow your vision into everything God has destined it to be with the help of funding. Let's go ahead and jump right into today's episode. So for the longest time, I struggled with my identity as a CEO as a co-founder. I really felt like, well, my husband's the barber. Well, my husband's the face of the operation. Well, my husband, really even down to our logo. Our logo with the Buffalo Ambition brand is one half my husband, one half the beast, which we believe is inside of everyone. And you just need to groom it, tailor it, curate it, and release it so that you can be the beast in whatever your industry is, right? So even down to our logo is representative of my husband. And for a long time, I really struggled with what is my role? What is my identity within our multiple businesses and brand? And what value do I really bring other than just the back end lady, right? What value do I really bring other than being the big bad wolf that comes out whenever it's time to terminate someone or whenever it's time to, make tough decisions and have these tough conversations? And so in working on my mindset and working with my business coach and really investing in myself as the embodiment of a business owner, and I really started to question and say, God, what value do I bring? Why am I here? I'm just the sidekick. I am literally just, the silent partner, and I don't need validation. I don't need anyone to pat me on the back, but I need to know for myself, what do I bring to the table really? And here is what I realized, okay? The problem is that I felt because my husband's the one that quote unquote makes all the money, right? He quote unquote has all the ideas. He's at the forefront of the business negotiations. He's the one that runs the finances. I felt like I offered zero value at the end of the day when everything was said and done, okay? And as I started transitioning into my own business, right, especially at the beginning when he's financially supporting my business and supporting my business growth in terms of classes that I have to take and mentorships and all of the things that come along with that, right, from taking this from a hobby to an actual enterprise, for a long time I felt like I owed him something. Like I owe him because he's supporting me through all of this. And I struggled a lot with my self-worth, and I struggled a lot with my self-confidence as a result to that. And it started to show, and it probably starts to show with you too as you try and make investments. Instead of you saying and knowing, I need to make this investment in this area of my business, instead of making that decision as a CEO, I started to ask for permission because I had zero self-confidence in my role within our family dynamic and as a part of, again, the multiple businesses that we are building. Today, I'm giving you the key on how it is that I squashed this mentality and how you will too. And number one, it's remove yourself from the equation. If your husband, if your partner didn't have you, okay, if he didn't have your support at home, if he didn't have your support as even just his wife, right, saying and cheering him on and telling him the things that he needs to hear so that he can show up to his business day after day after day, what would his life look like? What would his life with your children look like if he didn't have your support? How would he get anything done? How would he make money? His money would probably be going into daycare, right? Which we know is the same cost as a part-time job. Let's be honest. In my case, we have 4 children who are outdoor kids. They're wild and they're wonderfully wild. However, when I go away on vacation or business trips and my husband is stuck at home with my 4 kids, it never fails that he's always like, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for what you do. I have so much respect and I love that he vocalizes that. That's very much his love language. And I love that he acknowledges the fact that this is a team effort, right? If he doesn't have me to cook or clean or do laundry or pick up and drop off our kids, he would probably have to pay for that service. And any money that he would be making, right, would go into hiring support for that. Therefore, and if he wasn't paying for that kind of help, then and he was doing it himself, then he's missing out on money. So actually my support enables him to make more money. Whether that's me encouraging a business investment, whether that's me trying to help him find more efficient ways to run his business, whether that's me doing something as simple as picking up the kids at the end of every day. Those are things that he doesn't have to go out of his way to do or pay someone else to do for him because we're a team, right? So remove yourself from the equation, number one. What would your husband's life look like if he didn't have your support? Number two, I want you to remember what the Bible tells us as wives, right? And this has always been controversial, and so many people are like, I don't want to be a submissive wife, and blah, blah, blah. It's not about being submissive. It's not. You are his erroneous help, okay? And as his erroneous help, what I have learned is you are his secret weapon. This is, if you stop listening right now, I'll be totally fine. Because this right here is the key. This is the one that you've been waiting for. You are the silent ninja. His enemies don't fully know, nor do they understand you. Let's be honest. Why do I say that? Because God reveals things to you that he doesn't reveal to your husband. Now, can it be because your husband's distracted? Maybe. But the truth is that women they call it the sixth sense. It is discernment. That is God's discernment, Holy Spirit discernment that enables you to dream, to see in visions, to have that quote unquote feeling. They're unique and exclusive superpowers that the Lord has given us as women, as wives. Okay, there's one verse that really stood out to me couple of weeks ago, and it is Psalms 89:22 through 22, and it says, the enemy will not surprise you. The enemy will not surprise you. Notice how your husband has certain friends, right? And you say, there's something about that guy. I don't want you hanging out with him. No, he's a cool guy. You don't know his story. You don't know anything about him. You always, right? You always give it less than 6 months. And the guy that you had warned him about did him dirty. And you don't want to say, I told you so, but he'll say it for you. How'd you know? Your discernment. You are his secret weapon. You are the person that God uses to be in his ear and say, we're not firing that person because this is the domino effect of that. You are a visionary, and therefore you see so much more than he does. And that within itself is so valuable. No friend is going to care more about your spouse and about what you're building together than you. No one. You have immense value because you are God's voice in his ear. Number 3, the third way that I squashed this mentality is I have skills that he doesn't. I started, when we first started our barbershop, my husband and I, we had gone through our marital issues, and we knew that working together was a matter of trust. We were reestablishing trust in our relationship. We were establishing trust to run a business together. And one of the very first things that we did was create boundaries. And we started by identifying what are our strong points? What are we really great at? Okay, my husband is an awesome people person. He is just so charismatic. He can talk to anyone. He's a great salesperson. He is just super personable. I, on the other hand, I struggle with friendships. If you've been hanging out with me long enough on the podcast, you know I struggle with friendships. I struggle with establishing relationships. it really takes a lot for me to be a people person. It's exhausting, but here I am. And so, but I'm really great at creating systems. I'm really resourceful. I am constantly learning, and I obsess over growth, not success. I obsess over growth. And then we started pointing out, okay, what are areas that are opportunities for us? And we went through that list. We determined what tasks within our business and what roles would best be suited for the areas where we're really strong at, and how we can continue working on our areas of opportunities. So where he is weak, I am strong, and vice versa. And we created this clear line of boundary where this is his role, very clearly stated. We're super crystal clear on what it is the expectation is out of him, and of course myself. So you start identifying, okay, what are your strengths, what are my strengths, and I want you to write down a list, physically write down a list of all of the things you're really great at. And if you're struggling with this, have your spouse help you. I'm really struggling with, feeling like I bring anything to the table here. I do feel like I'm a burden to you. What am I really good at? How can you help me get through these limiting beliefs? Because right now I feel like I'm holding you back. And I can almost guarantee your spouse is going to say, absolutely not, you're not holding me back. I believe in you. I believe in your vision, but you have to believe it for yourself. And that's the reality, is that sometimes people on the outside see so much more in us than we do in ourselves. And in entrepreneurship, baby girl, I want you to hear me. In entrepreneurship, you need to be your number one fan. You need to gas yourself up, because this world is full of people that are readily available to tear you down, to tell you what you're not capable of, to tell you why you're not the first pick. You need to be the person to stand up and say, I'm worth it. I am the best. I am the best, and I am the best for you, right? You need to believe in your vision wholeheartedly. And these limiting beliefs here are going to continue holding you back until you deal with them. So 3, you have to identify what are your strengths and how are they different to your husband's, okay? And 4 is such an obvious one, but one that I cannot go without saying. And it's, you guys are one. You are one. You are one flesh. You are one spirit. You are one. And what that means is that his outcomes are yours and yours are his. I'm going to use, again, myself as an example, because like I've said in the past, I just want you to know that I would never get on this mic and tell you something that I have not been through or said to myself. And these, again, are things that I have really struggled with. And I had to come to the understanding that my husband's wins are my wins too. And my wins are his wins. Because there's no way that I would be able to get to where I am without him, without his support, without his encouragement, and vice versa. Everything he has been able to accomplish is directly and indirectly a byproduct of the support that I have extended to him as well. So our outcome and our results really are ours. I know that a lot of people have this belief that everything has to be separate. We have separate bank accounts, and we have separate this, and we have separate that. And it's like, that's an open door for the enemy, bro. Like, I'm just going to call it what it is. If you get offended, you get offended, and you can DM me about it and we can hash this out. But that is an open door for the enemy. You are demonstrating distrust, and you're really not upholding what the Bible asks of us. There's a reason why it says you'll leave your mother and your father and you will become one. And that's not a suggestion, that's a mandate. And so you need to understand that every single time your husband goes out there, he is representing you. Every time that you go out there, you're representing him, right? And we want to represent each other in the best light with the utmost respect. And so when we're talking about results, when we're talking about successes and wins and even, opportunities, we're doing this together. This is a together thing. It's not a me thing. It's a together thing. And so working on these 4 things, from removing myself from the equation to understanding my role as the secret ninja weapon and secret sauce that I am, as, again, God's voice in his ear, understanding that my strengths are my strengths for a reason, and I'm meant to uplift him in the areas where he's weak. And number 4, the fact that we really are one team. It's one. We're one entity. We are one family. We are husband and wife as one. These 4 things, working on them, really has transformed who I am as a CEO and what I understand to be my role within our businesses. Start changing your language. I should have added that one on there too. Start changing your language and have that conversation with your spouse so that they're changing their language as well. This is something that we're continuously working on. I'm not going to lie to you. And it is still a trigger for me because, again, it's really easy for us as women to put ourselves on the back burner. But I will never forget when a gentleman told me, you need to teach people how to treat you. And that has been engraved in my mind ever since. And when we say people, sometimes that means our spouses as well. Be vocal about what it is your expectation is. And be rooted in that. You don't need to be ashamed of anything you're doing. If anything, you are blessed by the fact that your spouse is able to financially and otherwise support this vision that God has given you. Own that. Walk in that. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. This is a privilege. As much for him as it is for you. So visionary, I hope this episode has blessed you. If it has, it would help me a ton if you would leave a rating and a review for the podcast as we continue to grow it. So psyched as to all of the accolades that we have received, but most importantly, I am just beyond honored and privileged to hear the testimonies that you are all sending me via all of the different avenues of how this podcast is speaking to you and bringing you conviction and bringing you encouragement and inspiration. And all glory to God, because at the end of the day, this mic belongs to him. My voice belongs to him. And I'm just the messenger. So if it's blessing you, if it's helping you, share it with a friend, leave a rating, leave a review, share it on your socials, and I will catch you in next week's episode. Have a blessed rest of your week.